welcome to episode 22 of Organic Reach X podcast. And today we're going to talk about the topic of would you rather be prepared and not have the opportunity, or have the opportunity and not be prepared? That's
Mhm.
a very interesting question. It's kind of like the chicken or the egg, right? Oh, by the
Yeah.
way, this is Anna and I am with,
Mubarak and
yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
Funny enough, Anna, to me, when I look at it, it's not a chicken and egg. It's a
Mm,
white and black, right? It's the distinction is clear, right? And
black and white, you mean?
black and white, yes. So white and black. Yeah.
just
Uh,
just so the audience knows.
yes. Um, when you think about it, really, you know, it's a choice. It's a choice that one has to make to be prepared,
Yeah.
right? And I believe through life experience that that preparedness, it's organic, right? Because you opportunity are gonna show up every day on your doors. Now you gotta make a choice that am I gonna grab it by the horn and run with it, oh, I'm gonna second guess myself. Am I ready? Am I this right? So that's why I think it's more of uh, a choice, right? So, but again, we're not on the same page as always. People, we're on a different paradigms. We're on different levels of understanding and things like that. If you haven't had, we had a very good episode where we go about the knowledge hierarchy itself, and there's a beautiful triangle that talks about this in a level of from knowledge to understanding to wisdom, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That so if you haven't, I highly recommend you go back because it would be very good. Kind of to take this new thing that we're
Prequel.
sharing. Yes, yes. And so Anna, what are your perspective and what's your experience with this question?
Okay, so as usual, it's when we talk about when we pick certain topics, do we go by feel also? I mean, most of the time, right? 100% of the time, actually. And this question, this topic today reminds me a lot of what we just experienced with a recent promotion that we did. You
Mhm.
know what it is, right?
Yes, yeah.
Because there's some people that can't wrap their mind around how this specific offer was going to work for their business,
Mhm.
right? Whereas when we saw it, we're like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Everyone needs this, right? That's why we launched it. That's why we promoted it, because we believe in it. It's organic, right? And when you opened this episode, you're like, when an opportunity shows up, are you gonna grab life by the horns and like run with it, or are you gonna second guess yourself and just like think and research and look at the house? Like that's two very different ways of going about it, right? One will keep you stuck, and then one will keep you moving forward. Yes, you might make mistakes. That's part of the experience, so that you can up level your wisdom, up level your knowledge, right? And so I just thought of that specific example where it's like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a funny one that just came to me, and Anna, this is again, it's a question to you, to as if we're asking the audience. So whoever who's listening, as I ask this question to Anna, think about that. I'm asking you, right? And Anna, before you answer, I want you to take a pause to give the audience a minute to think about that question I'm about to ask you, right?
Mhm.
The moment Anadonia landed on this Mother Earth, that day, that second that they wrote on your birthday that this is the time Anna came to this earth, was Anna ready? Was Anna prepared to what the life has? Were you prepared for that opportunity that you are given to? or not?
Very interesting question, right?
Mhm.
So now do you want me to answer?
Yes, please.
um, so from what I know spiritually, right? We have certain things that we agreed to before we came to Earth. It's like, okay, signed up for this specific purpose, right? That's why what we do in Alpha Academy is like helping you realize your mission and purpose in life, right? So that
Mhm.
you can accelerate towards that. And so from what I know, we know what we're meant to do, like right before, because we signed up, like we volunteers, like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do when I go to Earth, right? But then there's certain things, there's certain experiences and lessons that we also volunteered to and agreed, volunteered and agreed to experience. And so we don't remember that contract once we come to the physical, right? I don't know if this is the answer that you're looking
No, no, no. It's okay. It's not. There's no right or wrong.
right.
Yeah.
So we're not, because we have lessons to learn. If you paid attention to what I said before, we have lessons to learn. And so we're not prepared, but the lessons are preparing us
Mhm.
to fulfill the purpose
Mhm.
that we agreed to. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. That's a good answer. Here's my answer to the question.
Yeah.
Right. Just you showing up at that moment, it's a sign that you're prepared. Because if you weren't prepared, you would not have showed up.
Yeah.
So think about that. We're in a journey. You're moving, right? This opportunity, they're stagnant, they're positioned, right? So you're going through. It's not that they're finding you. Does it make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So you coming to this Mother Earth, it's not that, hey, the Mother Earth found me. No, you came to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you coming here, you already prepared. Because if you weren't prepared, you would not have been here,
Hmm.
right? So
Yep.
when you look at life from that perspective, that whatever surfaces to you, whatever comes to you in that moment, itself, it's a sign that you're ready for it. Otherwise, you would not have.
Totally. I agree with that too.
Because how many times people say, oh, did you see that? And you're like, what? I didn't see it. Because
Mm.
you weren't prepared to see it.
Yeah.
Right? So whatever shows up in your life, you are ready for it. Because
Yeah.
there's other people who were not, and it never showed up. So itself showing up, it's a sign that you're ready for the opportunity.
Also, uh, go ahead. Sorry. Sorry.
But what you do, it's up to you. You have now a choice of how you respond. As Jim Rohn said, it's not what happened that determines your future,
Yep.
because what happens to everybody.
Yep.
It's what you choose to do about what happens.
Yes, definitely. Um, I got excited, so I interrupted you earlier. So you see it, right? And you said it shows up, you see it, you're ready for it, right? But when you don't see it is when you're not ready for it. I don't know
Yeah.
if that even makes sense. Because like, so I'll give an example in this context. Like you go to an event or you read a book, right? And then you read the book again like 5 years later, or you go to an event again 5 years later. It's the same event, same book, whatever, right? But you're like, what? I don't remember this. Like, or you're getting like different uh breakthroughs, aha moments, right? Because you're a totally different person,
Mhm.
right? So you said others are not seeing it, but you are, because
Mhm.
you are now ready for it. And then you have had like life experiences up to that point that helps you kind of frame that new insight, into
Mhm.
something useful, to into like an inspired idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And fun enough too, and it just happened recently. I was telling you about I was reading and listening to Alchemist, and I
Yeah.
was telling him like, wait a minute, did someone jump in my house, add pages to this book? Because I'm like, no, it can't be that I missed this thing in the first place, right? So the
Right.
same things, right? But now let's apply it to business wise. Okay?
Yeah.
You have a service and a product, right? And people are gonna come. You're already here with the product and service. These people are pass things through. Whoever you're
Yeah.
gonna meet, and it's all about where they are at that moment in life. It's not
Yeah.
about you. Your
Hmm.
job, if you listen to previous episodes, is to share with them. But if they're not ready to share what you're sharing with them, they're not gonna be able to see it,
Yeah.
even though your product or service is life changing, right?
Yes.
But you already ready for them to come. But you cannot take blame or guilt
Yeah.
of how they see or not see. You just have to be patient. Like the book itself, it has been patient on my shelf here for God knows how long, for me to come and pick it up again and say, wait, this is a brand new book. This is not the same book I picked up last time, right? So it's going
Right.
to happen to you. I promise you, especially if you've been in business longer, or even if you're starting up. If you're starting up, this is for you. Don't feel bad when someone don't see the value that you have. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean it doesn't mean that you don't have the value. It doesn't mean that your product is not good. It just
Right.
means that in that moment in time, they're not ready to see or hear or feel the same way you feel about your product or services.
Yeah.
And isn't it what has happened to you for the last 10 years
Yes.
being in the business? How many people like who comes back right now, they're like, oh, Anna, wait a minute. I forgot that you're in a business,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, what? Didn't I tell you 2 years ago? Did I
Yeah.
not share everything? Not even go further. Me and you were married. Look in your relationship. How many times your spouse says something and it's like, what? Gone. And then he comes back and says, honey, I told you this. Says, when? When did you say that? Right? Like,
This happens so much in marriages, by the way.
exactly. Yeah. You're like, did I say that? Or did you say that? Right? It's the same thing. You weren't ready. It's okay. You shouldn't feel
Right.
bad
Or
or
you weren't
that
listening.
yeah, you weren't listening. No, it's not that you're not listening. You are listening to what you were ready for at that moment. Yeah.
You should tell my husband that because he always tells me I don't.
Thanks God the episode is recorded. He can come and listen to this more. Woo-hoo. He's gonna come listen to this, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to add to the point that you made as far as people not being ready when you're sharing your product or service to them, right? Because especially for new entrepreneurs, again, we're going back to the sales part of this, right? Because, a no means not right now, not at this moment. I don't need it.
Mhm.
Life is so amazing right now. I don't need anything, you know?
Mhm.
But that's where the follow up comes in. And that's where the top of mind marketing comes in. That's why it's also our responsibility to market ourselves as much and as often as possible and to follow up with the right people because you just never know when that right time is going to happen where it's like they're going through something and you can solve that problem for them and then they'll be ready. That's why they're the fortune is in the follow up, right?
Yes. And but to go deep on this is something we cover very deep into Alpha Academy, right?
Mhm.
You remember in a specifically where you use analogy of a phone, right? The frequency of the phone, right?
Mhm.
That if we're not on the same frequency, we can't communicate. Like, for example, this Zoom we're on, the only way we can be able to communicate because we're on the same frequency. So
Yeah.
the people who are listening to us, they're on the same frequency on that platform to be able to listen to this conversation, right?
Yeah.
So extra thing that I would like to add for you as a service provider or product owner that you're selling a service or product, I want you to ask you this question deeply. If you really know in your heart, you know in your bones that your product services, it's meant to change people's life, and you have made a commitment to share this service or product with the other world, could there be a chance that you're on a different frequency than your customer? Because for
Mm,
them, they don't know. For them, they
yeah,
don't know. It's your job to align yourself with the frequency so they can be ready to see you. So most
yeah,
of the time, it's your job. It's not their job because
yeah,
they're on their path somewhere. So now, how can you position yourself so that when it's the right time in the right time moment for them, it can align? It's all about alignment, right? Just think about it. What if that's the thing that you're dialing the wrong number? You keep now it's your job to find the right number to delay. Oh, yes, Anna, what you're saying makes sense. And then you duh, this is the song I've been singing for a long time,
right,
right?
right, right.
And when you get that moment and someone say that, thanks God, I tuned into the right frequency.
Yes,
I got it, right? And then it's up to you now to master that frequency so that that's where the frequency you communicate on. And which is what, when you hear people tell you, oh, go do research. What's your avatar? What's your customer? What are they? They're telling you, find your tuning. You're finding tuning the frequency so that
yes,
you can align to that person so that when you communicate to them, they're going to be ready to listen because you're speaking to their language, right?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny because this kind of goes back full circle to how we started this particular episode as far as when opportunity shows up, do you seize it and do you take action? Right? Because um you were talking about dialing in your avatar and aligning to that frequency. If you just stay in paralysis analysis and you're figuring how, you don't do anything,
Yes.
right? You're not able to go out there and talk to like a bunch of people and figure out and do some market research and interact with your potential customers. What are their needs? What are they struggling with? What are their desires? All that stuff when you're staying in that inaction, right? But when you're out there seizing the opportunity and it shows up and you're proactively like fine tuning your frequency, your avatar, whatever it is, you're learning something. And with each thing, you're getting closer and closer, right?
Mhm.
So, an example of this would be our journey, Mubarak. It's funny that we're talking about this today because I was just thinking about like just how far we've come and how close we are to like dialing in that perfect offer program, whatever it is that we're working on right now, right?
Mhm.
We're at the precipice of something big. I can feel it. I know you feel it too.
I do. Yeah.
But we didn't start that way,
No.
right? We did not even know what this was about. We just know, like, hey, there's this course that I created, you jumped on, we did a coaching thing together with it, with that specific course. We got an exclusivity agreement for that course. And along the way, we kept going, we kept going, we kept doing weekly calls after weekly calls with our clients, not still not knowing what the heck it is, what we're doing and what is this all about. And now, because we've troubleshooted, because we've tried different things, we've fine tuned it, right? We listen to our customers and clients' desires and needs and struggles, that now we're getting closer and closer and closer to
Mhm.
creating that something that's going to take us to the next level, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Funny, something I wanted to add on this. These things that we're sharing here, they may be overwhelming for you, right? I know it's a lot of stuff, good stuff that we're sharing. And that's why we every week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Central Time, we share all this journey from the day one, from 2 years ago, if not 3 years, almost 3 years. It feels like forever. At the same time, it feels like yesterday. Um,
Yes.
we have been documenting our journey. Not only that, our clients have this opportunity to show up on this call and help them tune, right? As
Yeah.
we share with them our journeys and coaching them, mentoring them, and like putting them on a hot seat, right? We do this on a weekly basis. As we're recording this podcast right now, depending on when you're listening to it, we're a few hours away to that time where it's a dedicated just to say, okay, guess what, guys? We learned a lot in the last month or so. This and this happened, which is exactly what happened, right? So now let's go to what question do you have? Okay, do you see the thing the way we're seeing it? How can we help you see the things the way they're supposed to be seen, right? So that's hands-on that you can't get from just listening to our podcast, right? I highly
Yeah.
recommend wherever you're listening to, just go to organicreachx.com. You will find a way to get back to us and come experience this, right? You may have
Yeah.
opportunity to have 2 months, 2 months of us helping you. And then after 2 months, you decide if you love it or not. If you don't, hey, no hearts, no farm. Maybe we're not on the right frequency,
Yeah.
right? And maybe down the road, when we fine tune our ways to communicate to you in that way, that's okay. And if we
Yeah.
never, that means that it never meant for that. So I
Yes,
wanted to
exactly.
add that in, that you have that opportunity to come and experience this on a higher level.
Yeah. Yeah. And a group level and on a weekly basis as well for 2 months. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah. So good. I love it. I love this conversation. I think the lesson of this episode is that, be present, right? Because being in the present is the only time that we can create. And what are the lessons and opportunities that present moment is
mhm,
is sharing with you. Right, I was gonna say giving, but we just finished the other episode. That's sharing with you,
mhm,
right? And how, what action can we take on that opportunity, on a specific opportunity, without like overthinking too much,
mhm,
right? Because I think that too many people, we get stuck because we overthink stuff with the house,
mhm,
right? But it's better to just like do it and then troubleshoot and then see what happens and then learn along the way.
mhm.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that?
I know this is one of the small episode that it's so intense.
Yeah,
We can add so many stuff, but I think it
totally.
is it's full, as
Yeah.
one of our clients like saying, right? We hope you're full too from this, and come back and listen to it. And also, please don't forget to leave us a comment, give us your feedback on what you feel. But also, we'll be honored to have you on those weekly coaching sessions. Fun enough, the coaching itself is called the next level, organic reach next level, right?
Yeah.
So you want to take this, what we're talking about here, to the next level, reach out to us,
Yeah.
you know, on the organic reach x.com. There is a way you can find out, right? Is even exploring the tools. We have a giveaway on the website there where we're giving away all the tools that we're using in our business, just to you to find out, to test them out and see if they work for you. But if that's not
Yeah.
enough, we have a weekly coaching call that where we go deep on these things and we take you to the next level. So
Yeah. And
that's
where we
all.
can go deep, where we can go deep with them
Mhm,
specifically on whatever it is that they um, are looking to do. Also, to add to that, since we're plugging some calls on this episode, we're starting a community call as well, right? And these
wow.
community calls are also free.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where executives and entrepreneurs come together every week to solve one of the top problems they have for that week and collaborate on a solution.
Mhm.
So we're starting that in a couple of weeks from the this episode. I don't know when we're actually going to post this episode, but like Mubarak said, just reach out in the form at organicreachx.com and we'll send you information on that.
Yes, but Anna, on that note, I just remembered something. We're not only doing another free call every week. But in order to get the free call, there's something amazing we're sharing with you, right? So one
Mm.
of our mentors, someone I have followed long time ago, the owner of Lead It For Me,
Yeah.
right? Yes, right. He shared with us an opportunity to share with you the program Lifetime Access, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
think about it. We're gonna give you the lifetime access to Did It For Me. It's a
Yeah.
$497 worth, right? So we're demonstrating what we teach you here, right?
Yeah.
So remember I always said that there is a book you read and you go back to it, you're like, oh my God, right? Now imagine having a library of summaries, not just books, summaries of good books, like where he has intensified them, right? And we're giving you lifetime access to that,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
somewhere you're listening to this, it's gonna be in the show notes, it's gonna be on if it's a YouTube in the comments, just look in there, like you'll see, not in the comments, but in the show notes, right? You will
Yes.
see a way to have that opportunity to have lifetime of Read It For Me. You can go check it out for yourself, see how good the product is. We are sharing with you that, just how much we
Free
love it.
free lifetime access. That's
We're
just
sharing, yes,
mind blowing. Yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah. Totally.
So, and
All right.
yeah,
Like you
I'll let
said,
you.
we're full.
Yes, we are.
And so this has been Organic Reach X.
We show you how to go with the flow organically in your business.
See you next time.